You know, we go through our days thinking we've got a pretty good handle on how the world works. But what if we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg? What if there are these hidden mechanics, these strange and wonderful rules running the whole show behind the scenes? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to explore.
So what if reality came with a secret user manual? You know, a guide to all the weird hidden features? Well, today we're going to flip through a few pages of that manual. And trust me, what we find is going to prove our world is way, way stranger. And honestly, more amazing than we ever imagined.
So, where do we even begin this journey? Well, how about with the one thing we feel like we know inside and out? Literally, ourselves. But as you're about to see, even our own bodies are packed with some absolutely incredible secrets.
Okay, get ready for this. You are glowing. Right now. Now, I'm not kidding, I mean that literally. In this very moment, your body is actually emitting light. It sounds like something from a comic book, right? But this is 100% real biology.
So how is that even possible? Well, it all comes down to the constant chemical reactions happening inside your cells all the time. As they do their thing, they release these tiny bits of energy in the form of photons, and photons are literally particles of light. Now, before you think you can read a book by your own glow, it's about 1,000 times too weak for our eyes to pick up. But, and this is the cool part, super-sensitive cameras can actually see it. Yep, you are a walking, talking, thinking source of light.
Okay, so from our glowing cells, let's move up to our minds. This next one is one of the most hopeful, most empowering ideas in all of science, and it's called neuroplasticity. You see, for the longest time, we were told our brains were basically set in stone once we grew up. Well, guess what? That's totally wrong. It's much better to think of your brain like software that you can update and improve for your entire life. And the best part? You're the programmer. Every single time you learn a new skill, you are literally rewriting the code in your brain. When you practice an instrument, you're strengthening those neural pathways. When you try to learn a new language, you're building brand new connections. Heck, even just wrestling with a tough problem physically changes the structure of your brain. It's incredible.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that your brain is never finished. It's this dynamic, living thing that's always changing based on what you do and what you think. It's always a work in progress. And that means you aren't stuck. The person you are tomorrow isn't decided today. You actually have the power to build yourself a better brain.
All right, so we've seen how weird and wonderful we are on the inside, so let's zoom out a bit. If our own bodies are this full of surprises, what about the rest of the natural world? Well, as it turns out, nature plays by some rules that are, well, they're downright bizarre.
Let's talk about the octopus. These things are geniuses of the sea, right? But their biology is like something from another planet. For starters, you've got one heart. An octopus? It's got 3. Our blood is red because it's based on iron. Theirs is blue because it's based on copper. They are just fundamentally, beautifully different from us.
But here's the really weird part, a little quirk in their design. When an octopus swims, one of those 3 hearts just stops beating. Can you imagine? That's why you usually see them crawling along the ocean floor. Actually swimming is just plain exhausting for them. Okay, let's change gears and think really, really big for a second. Cosmic scale. I want you to picture the night sky. Astronomers figure there are somewhere around 400 billion stars just in our home galaxy, the Milky Way. That number is just, it's impossible to wrap your head around, right?
Well, hold that thought, because scientists estimate that right here, on our own planet, there are about 3 trillion trees. Let that sink in. That's more than 7 times the number of stars in our entire galaxy. It just goes to show you, sometimes the most mind-boggling numbers aren't light years away. They're right here.
All right, this next one is gonna sound a little scary at first, but stick with me. I promise it's fine. You know that banana you might have had for breakfast? Yep, it was radioactive.
So what's going on? It's simple, really. Bananas have a lot of potassium, and a very, very tiny amount of that potassium is naturally radioactive. We're talking an incredibly small dose, but it's measurable. And it's so consistent, in fact, that scientists actually use it as a unit of measurement. They have this great term for it, the banana equivalent dose. It's a fun way they explain teeny tiny amounts of radiation to people. How cool is that?
Okay, for our last section, we are going deep. Like fundamental laws of the universe deep. We're talking about the very fabric of reality. And trust me, this is where things start to get seriously weird.
Here's a thought that might just break your brain a little, and you can thank Albert Einstein for it. We think of time as this constant thing, right? 1 second is always 1 second. Except it isn't. And that means, right this very second, time is actually moving slower for your feet than it is for your head.
So why? Well, it's all about gravity. Gravity actually bends space and time. Because your feet are closer to the center of the Earth, gravity is pulling on them just a tiny bit more strongly. And where gravity is stronger, time moves slower. Now the difference is crazy small. We're talking fractions of a nanosecond, but it is real. Scientists have measured it with hyper-accurate atomic clocks. So yeah, your head is literally aging faster than your feet. Wild.
Let's talk about matter. In school, we all learn the big three, right? Solid, liquid, and gas. But what if something could be all three at the exact same time? Well, it can. It's called the triple point of water. At one very specific temperature and pressure, you can have ice, liquid water, and steam all existing together in the same space, in perfect balance.
And this isn't just some weird science experiment, like a cool party trick. It's actually super important, because that triple point is a fundamental constant of the universe. It never, ever changes. That makes it the perfect reference point for calibrating sensitive scientific tools, for physics experiments, and even for research they do for space missions.
All right, picture this scene. You've seen it a million times in movies. Two giant spaceships are in a dogfight, lasers are flying everywhere, one of them gets hit and kaboom! You get this huge, fiery, roaring explosion. It's awesome, right? Well, it's also completely and totally wrong.
The real thing is actually way creepier, because space is a vacuum. If a planet-sized spaceship exploded right in front of you, you wouldn't hear a single sound. Nothing. Just dead, absolute silence.
And the reason why is super simple physics. See, down here on Earth, sound needs something to travel through. It's just vibrations moving through the air or water or a wall. But in space, it's a vacuum. There's nothing there. No air, nothing. So the sound waves have nowhere to go. No medium, no sound. No kaboom. So think about where we've been. From the fact that our own cells are glowing, to the octopus with its 3 hearts and blue blood, all the way out to the silent explosions of stars, it's pretty clear, right? The world is running on a set of rules that are so much weirder and so much more incredible than we usually give it credit for.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If all of this stuff is true, what else is out there? What other huge secrets about how reality works are just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to notice? What will we discover next?